All right, let's add some commentary. So I'm going to make a commentary an evidence sandwich on this. So I'm going to put some commentary in front and commentary behind. Um, let's start with Johnny clearly doesn't. I'm going to say does not think violence is an effective mechanism for change. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. And I'm going to turn my commentary to green. I like green, whatever. If you wanted to use like orange and red and purple and stuff, that's fine. Just as long as I can tell, like, that's your that's your claim. That's your claims, and then if you can, have your evidence highlighted in one color, so everywhere there's a citation, which is where you're going to use for all your evidence, you're going to use blue or one color specifically for that. And then your commentary, you want to have the same color too. All right, so now I need to add something at the end here. The fact that Johnny how do I want to say this? It can be difficult. I gotta say, adding commentary is often the hardest part of this. Johnny's explicit disapproval of the violence and statement that violence is not the solution illustrates Hinton's theme that violence is futile. Okay, so here's what I'm doing here. The first bit, I'm kind of setting it up and talking about how Johnny clearly doesn't think that violence is helpful or changes anything. And then I give you the actual evidence. So I'm kind of like, this is kind of one of those Jedi mind tricks of writing where I tell you, something so that you know what to expect. And you're kind of like tricked into being already on my side and already kind of seeing or being able to look and see what I'm seeing in the evidence. And then I give you the evidence. And then later in this bit, I'm taking what I just told you and that you've already been tricked into believing, well, because it's true. And then I kind of, not only do I remind you of what I said, I also link it back to my thesis. So Johnny's explicit disapproval of violence and statement that violence is not the solution, right? So that's what he did in the evidence. That's kind of me summarizing the evidence. And then I'm pulling it back and linking it to my thesis statement, right? Which is the theme is the futility of violence. So violence is futile. Now, there's a lot of different ways I could say it. I didn't say the futility of violence. I said violence is futile. I could even get more distant from the thesis, but still convey the same idea. I say violence is pointless, right? So that's another option I could use. I can change my words around a lot, but I'm going to leave it futile for now. Hopefully this kind of shows you what I'm looking for in terms of this is Hinton. This is my claim about Hinton illustrating it through Johnny's story. Then I'm going to use, I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm about to talk about something Johnny says and something that happens in Johnny's story that illustrates this point. And then at the end, I kind of like translate, okay, what's the important part of this quote that I want you to get? Johnny explicitly disapproves of violence, and his statement that violence is not the solution, right? So I'm throwing that at you twice, and then I link it back to my thesis statement, right? So futility of violence, violence is futile. So you guys kind of see how that works. Now, I'm going to have to do this again because I need two pieces of evidence. If you wanted to change it up, if you're like, hey, I want to put my evidence next, and then I want to put two pieces of reasoning afterward, fine. If you want to put both pieces of reasoning right here and then end with your piece of evidence, that's okay. I generally find that's a little bit trickier. It doesn't always work, but it can. It depends on your situation. But this is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of evidence